The rescue. The vastness of space stretched endlessly around Captain Liam Ryder's small cargo ship, the starbound Voyager. Liam leaned back in his chair, sipping lukewarm coffee, and stared out at the quiet stars. He'd been running supplies between colonies for years, but this stretch of empty space felt particularly desolate. That was until his ship's sensors blared an alert. Unidentified vessel detected. His eye, Eva, chimed in. Structural integrity failing. Life signs. 1. Status. Critical. Liam frowned, setting his coffee aside. Rescuing people wasn't part of his job description, but he wasn't the kind of man to ignore a distress call. He adjusted his course toward the vessel, which was barely holding together near a dense asteroid field. As he approached, the wreckage of the alien ship came into view. Its sleek, organic design shimmered faintly under the weak light of a distant star. The hull was riddled with holes, likely from some kind of weapon. It was a miracle anyone had survived. Eva, scan for threats, Liam ordered. No immediate hostiles detected, Eva replied. Recommend extreme caution. Liam suited up and grabbed his emergency kit. He docked the starbound Voyager to the alien vessel and stepped into the wreckage. The air was thin and cold, carrying the faint metallic tang of burning circuits. Sparks flew from damaged panels as he carefully navigated the narrow corridors, following the weak life signal. The scene was grim. Alien technology, advanced and elegant, lay shattered around him. Liam kept his blaster at his side, just in case, and pushed forward. Finally, he found the source of the signal, a small, dimly lit room where an alien girl lay slumped against a wall. She was unlike anything Liam had seen. Her skin glowed faintly, shifting between shades of silver and blue, and her long white hair fanned out around her like a halo. Strange symbols pulsed along her arms, dim and fading. She was barely breathing. Hang on, Liam muttered, dropping to one knee. He checked her vitals, though he barely understood her anatomy. Her pulse was weak, and her body temperature was dropping fast. She wouldn't last long without help. As he prepared to lift her, a low rumble echoed through the ship. Eva's voice crackled through his comms. Captain, the alien vessel is destabilizing. You have 2 minutes before structural collapse. Great timing, Liam muttered. He carefully scooped the alien girl into his arms. She was lighter than he expected, her body almost weightless. As he turned to leave, the walls groaned ominously, and debris rained down around him. Liam ran as fast as he could, navigating through the wreckage with the girl in his arms. The ship shuddered violently, and a section of the ceiling collapsed behind him, narrowly missing his heels. His breath came in short, sharp gasps as he reached the airlock and sealed it behind him. Eva, get us out of here, he shouted as he stumbled back onto the starbound Voyager. The docking clamps released, and the ship's thrusters roared to life. Liam barely made it to the medical bay, where he placed the alien girl onto a diagnostic bed. Eva's scanners hummed as they worked to stabilize her. The starbound Voyager shot away just as the alien vessel exploded in a blinding flash of light. Liam stared at the screen, catching his breath. He'd made it out, but the question lingered. Who was this girl, and what had happened to her ship? Life signs stabilizing, Eva reported. Her condition is critical but improving. Liam leaned against the wall, watching the faint glow of her skin pulse rhythmically. She was alive. For now. But as he reached out to check the symbols on her arm, they flared brightly, and a sudden wave of energy surged through him. Pain shot through his head, and he collapsed to the floor, clutching his temples. Images flooded his mind, alien cities, strange rituals, and a voice that wasn't his own. It whispered his name, soft yet urgent. Liam. He gasped for air, his vision swimming as the light from the symbols faded. The girl remained unconscious, but her presence lingered in his mind like a distant echo. What just happened? He muttered, struggling to his feet. He didn't have an answer, but one thing was clear. Saving her was only the beginning of a much larger story, and whatever he'd just gotten himself into, it was far from over. The awakening. Liam groaned as he sat up, his head pounding like a drum. The strange energy surge had left him disoriented, and the alien girl's symbols still flickered faintly in his mind. Rubbing his temples, he staggered to his feet and looked over at her. She was still unconscious, her chest rising and falling in a slow, steady rhythm. The medical bay's dim lights reflected off her shimmering skin, making her look almost otherworldly. Liam leaned against the counter, his gaze fixed on her. He had questions, far too many, and no answers. "Eva," he croaked. "Any updates on her condition?" "Her vitals are stabilizing," the eye replied. "However, her physiology is unlike anything in our database. I recommend continued observation." Liam let out a sigh of relief. For now, she was safe. But as he stared at her, he couldn't shake the feeling that saving her had come with a cost he didn't yet understand. Hours passed, and the ship hummed softly as it glided through space. Liam busied himself with repairs, but his thoughts kept drifting back to the girl. Why had her symbols reacted to him? What kind of trouble had he just invited onto his ship? A soft, melodic hum broke his train of thought. He turned toward the medical bay, where the girl was stirring. Her glowing eyes fluttered open, revealing a deep, radiant silver. She blinked a few times, her gaze darting around the room before settling on him. Liam froze, unsure of what to do. He raised a hand awkwardly in greeting. Hey, you're awake." The girl tilted her head, studying him with an intensity that made him feel exposed. Then, without moving her lips, a voice echoed in his mind, a voice as soft as a breeze but clear as day. "Who are you?" Liam blinked, startled. He looked around the room, but it was just the two of them. "Did you just talk?" "In my head." Her expression softened, and a faint smile tugged at the corners of her lips. "Yes, my kind communicates telepathically. I am Kellyra." "Kellyra," Liam repeated, testing the name. It rolled off his tongue like a melody. "I'm Liam Ryder. I found your ship, what was left of it, and brought you here." Kellyra's eyes dimmed slightly, and a wave of sorrow washed over Liam. Not from himself, but from her. He realized he could feel her emotions, faint but undeniable. "My ship," she said, her mental voice trembling. "It was attacked. I was fleeing, but I didn't escape fast enough." Liam crossed his arms, leaning against the doorway. "Who attacked you? Pirates? Or something worse?" Kellyra hesitated, her glowing symbols dimming as though reflecting her mood. "I cannot say. It is forbidden to speak of them to outsiders." "Outsiders?" Liam raised an eyebrow. "Lady, I just pulled you from the Brink of Death. You're on my ship now. I think I deserve a few answers." Kellyra sat up slowly, her body seeming almost weightless as she moved. She looked at him with a mixture of gratitude and caution. "You saved me. For that, I owe you my life. But there is something you must know." Liam tensed. "What?" She extended her hand, and the glowing symbols on her arm flared to life. A warm, tingling sensation coursed through him as her mind connected more deeply with his. Her voice became clearer, more resonant. "In saving me, you triggered a bond, a soul binding. It is sacred among my people, irreversible without great peril." Liam blinked, struggling to process her words. "Soul binding? What does that even mean?" Kellyra lowered her gaze, her voice tinged with regret. "It is a merging of life forces. Our fates are now intertwined. In the eyes of my people, it is a union, a bond as deep as marriage." Liam's jaw dropped. "Wait, hold on. You're saying I accidentally married you by saving your life?" Kellyra nodded solemnly. "It is more than marriage. Our minds and souls are now linked. We will feel each other's emotions, hear each other's thoughts, even across great distances. It is eternal." Liam ran a hand through his hair, pacing the room. This can't be real. There has to be a way to undo it. Kalira shook her head. Only the High Elders on my home planet can perform the unbinding ritual, but it is dangerous and rarely successful. Most do not survive. Liam froze mid-step, staring at her. You're telling me I risked my life to save you, and now I'm stuck with you forever, unless I want to risk dying again. Kalira's eyes met his, her expression filled with guilt and something else. Hope. I understand if this is too much for you, but I promise I will protect you. I owe you my life, and I will not let harm come to you. Before Liam could respond, the ship's sensors blared again. Eva's voice crackled over the comms. Warning. Unidentified vessel approaching. Hostile intent detected. Kalira's eyes widened, and her glowing symbols flared brighter. They found us, she whispered. We must leave, now. Liam grabbed the controls, his mind racing. He didn't know who they were, but he had a sinking feeling that saving Kalira was only the beginning of his problems. The consequences. The starbound Voyager vibrated as its engines roared to life. Liam sat at the helm, sweat trickling down his temple. The sensors displayed a rapidly approaching vessel, its energy signature far more advanced than anything he had encountered. Red warning lights flickered across the dashboard as Eva's voice filled the cockpit. Hostile ship closing in. Estimated time to contact. 3 minutes. Recommend evasive maneuvers. Liam gritted his teeth, gripping the controls tightly. Evasive maneuvers. Eva, I'm flying a cargo ship, not a fighter jet. From behind him, Kalira appeared, her glowing symbols pulsing erratically. Her silver eyes reflected the urgency of the moment. It's them. They're from my world. Liam glanced at her, his frustration evident. Care to elaborate? Who are they, and why are they after us? Kalira hesitated, her gaze dropping to the floor. They are my people's enforcers. They were sent to bring me back, or eliminate me if I resist. Liam's stomach sank. Eliminate? You said you were fleeing something. Care to fill in the blanks? She took a deep breath, her voice resonating in his mind. I was betrothed to someone powerful, a warrior who sought to use me as leverage to gain control of our ruling council. When I refused, he orchestrated the destruction of my vessel. He didn't expect me to survive. Liam let out a low whistle. So, let me get this straight. You've got a psychotic ex-fiancé chasing us across the galaxy, and now I'm caught in the middle because I saved your life. Kalira winced. It is not fair to you. I did not choose this bond any more than you did, but now our fates are entwined. Yeah, I noticed, Liam muttered, steering the ship into a sharp turn to avoid an asteroid. Eva, how close are they? 2 minutes to intercept, the eye replied. Their weapons systems are locking on. Kalira stepped closer, her symbols glowing brighter. We cannot outrun them. But if you can get close to a nebula or debris field, I can create a psychic interference to obscure our presence. Liam raised an eyebrow. Psychic interference. That's a new one. Trust me, she said, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. It's our only chance. Liam didn't have time to argue. He scanned the nearby star charts and spotted a dense field of debris from an ancient space battle. It was a risky move. Navigation would be nearly impossible, but it was better than waiting to be vaporized. Hold on to something, he warned, pushing the thrusters to maximum. The starbound Voyager surged forward, the hostile ship gaining ground. As they entered the debris field, the ship jolted violently, scraping against chunks of metal and twisted machinery. Kalira knelt in the center of the cockpit, closing her eyes. Her symbols glowed with an intense light, and Liam felt a strange warmth spread through the air. Whatever you're doing, do it fast, he said, dodging the spinning piece of wreckage. Kalira's voice echoed in his mind. I need a moment of silence. Liam clamped his mouth shut, focusing on maneuvering the ship. Outside, the hostile vessel slowed, its scanners struggling to lock onto their position. Kalira's glow intensified, and suddenly, A wave of energy rippled outward, enveloping the starbound Voyager. The sensors flickered, and the hostile ship vanished from the radar. Liam blinked in surprise. Eva, where did they go? Hostile ship no longer tracking. They appear to have lost our signal, the AI reported. Liam let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. Well, that's one way to shake them. What did you do? Kalira opened her eyes, her glow dimming. She looked exhausted, her breaths shallow. I masked our energy signature by projecting false readings, but it won't last long. We must keep moving. Liam nodded, steering the ship out of the debris field. We need a plan, Kalira. We can't keep running forever. If your people are this determined to find you, they're not going to stop. Kalira hesitated, her expression conflicted. There is only one place we can go, my home planet, Eltara. The Council must know the truth about my betrothed's betrayal. If we can expose him, they may call off the hunt. Liam frowned. And what happens when they see me? You said it yourself. I'm an outsider. I doubt they'll roll out the red carpet for me. Kalira's gaze softened. You saved my life and formed the soul bond among my people that carries great weight. They may see you as a threat at first, but if we can convince them of your intentions, they might listen. Might isn't exactly comforting, Liam said, running a hand through his hair. But I guess I don't have much choice. If this bond is as permanent as you say, I'm already in too deep. Kalira nodded, her expression resolute. Thank you, Liam. I promise I will do everything in my power to protect you. Before Liam could respond, Eva interrupted. Long-range sensors detect another vessel approaching. It is broadcasting a neutral signal. Liam tensed. Another ship. Who now? Kalira's eyes widened. Rogue traders. We must be cautious. They are unpredictable and often dangerous. Liam sighed. Great. As if this day couldn't get any worse. He set the ship on a cautious course toward the incoming vessel, his mind racing with possibilities. Whoever was on that ship, he'd need to tread carefully. The stakes were higher than ever, and he had a feeling that the worst was yet to come. The pursuit. The starbound Voyager drifted cautiously toward the neutral vessel, its sleek, dark design bristling with antennae and weapon mounts. Liam's gut churned with unease. Rogue traders were a wild card, sometimes helpful, often dangerous, and always driven by profit. Eva's voice broke the silence. Incoming hail from the unidentified vessel. Message. Prepare for docking. No sudden moves. Liam glanced at Kalira, who stood behind him with her arms crossed. Her glowing symbols pulsed faintly, a sign of her anxiety. Are they friendly? He asked. Kalira shook her head. They are opportunists. If they know who I am, or what I carry, they may try to take it. Liam sighed and activated the comm. This is Captain Liam Ryder of the starbound Voyager. We're just passing through. No need to dock. The voice that responded was deep and gravelly, carrying the weight of command. Passing through, Then explain why your ship's energy signature was just scrambled. Running from someone, Captain. Liam cursed under his breath. These traders were sharp. He exchanged a glance with Kalira, who stepped closer, her expression grim. We've had some technical issues, Liam said, choosing his words carefully. Nothing that concerns you. The trader's laugh crackled through the comm. Technical issues, sure. Well, here's the deal. You dock, and we'll have a little chat. Refuse, and I'll assume you're carrying something valuable. You don't want me to make that assumption. Liam muttered a string of curses. Eva, how armed are we? Minimal defensive capabilities. Engagement with this vessel is strongly discouraged, the eye replied. Kalira placed a hand on Liam's shoulder, her voice firm. We should dock. If we refuse, they will attack, and we cannot win. I can handle this. Liam frowned. Handle it how? She met his gaze, her silver eyes steady. Trust me. He hesitated but ultimately nodded. Fine. Eva, prepare for docking. The starbound Voyager shuddered slightly as the rogue trader's vessel extended a docking arm. The airlock hissed open, and 3 figures stepped aboard. 2 burly guards with blasters and a tall, thin man in a long coat. His face was sharp and weathered, his eyes scanning the ship with practiced precision. "Welcome aboard," Liam said, forcing a smile. "What can I do for you?" The man ignored him, his gaze locking onto Kalira. A sly grin spread across his face. "Now, what do we have here?" Don't see many Elterans outside their precious borders, and certainly not bonded ones. Liam's blood ran cold. Bonded ones. The man chuckled. The glow on her skin gives it away. She's soul-bound to someone. His eyes flicked to Liam, and his grin widened. "You, I take it. That's fascinating." Kalira stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "We have no quarrel with you. Let us go, and we will not trouble you." The man tilted his head, feigning thought. "Oh, I'm not troubled. Quite the opposite. You see, an Eltaran bonded pair is worth a fortune to the right buyer. The bond itself is an artifact, rare, ancient, and very valuable." Liam instinctively stepped in front of Kalira. "We're not for sale." The man raised an eyebrow, clearly amused. "Brave. Stupid, but brave. Tell you what, I'll make it simple. Hand over whatever artifact you're carrying, and I might let you keep your lives." Kalira's eyes narrowed, her symbols glowing brighter. "We carry nothing for you. Leave us." The man's smile faltered, replaced by a calculating look. "Fine. Have it your way." He turned to his guards. "Take them." Before the guards could move, Kalira raised her hands, and the room filled with a bright, pulsing light. The guards froze, their movements sluggish as though wading through thick water. The man stumbled back, shielding his eyes. "What the—" he began, but Kalira's voice cut through his thoughts like a blade. "Leave now, or you will regret it." The man's face twisted in fear and rage, but he nodded to his guards. "Fall back. We'll deal with them later." As they retreated to their ship, Liam quickly sealed the airlock and disengaged the docking clamps. The starbound Voyager sped away, leaving the rogue traders behind. Liam turned to Kalira, who looked pale and unsteady. "What was that?" She sank into a chair, her glow dimming. "A psychic projection. It won't hold them for long. We need to keep moving." Liam nodded, his respect for her growing despite the chaos. "You're full of surprises, you know that." Kalira managed a faint smile. "Let's hope I have enough left for what's coming." Liam stared at the stars ahead, his mind racing. The rogue traders might be gone for now, but the hostile ship wasn't far behind. And with every step deeper into this mess, he realized there was no turning back. The Alliance. The starbound Voyager limped into the orbit of a desolate planet, its hull scorched and its engines barely functional. Liam leaned back in his pilot's chair, exhaustion etched into his face. Beside him, Kalira sat silently, her glowing symbols dim and uneven. The rogue traders had been repelled, but it came at a cost. "Engines at 32% functionality," Eva reported. "We cannot sustain further pursuit in this condition." Liam let out a frustrated groan. "Great, just great. Eva, are there any stations or settlements nearby where we can make repairs?" "There is a neutral trading station approximately 4,000 kilometers from our current position," Eva said. "Minimal regulation. Probability of hostility moderate." Kalira frowned. "A station like that will be dangerous. Traders and mercenaries gather there. If word has spread about us, it could be a trap." Liam shrugged. "It's that or wait here for your fiance's death squad to finish the job. I'll take my chances." Kalira didn't argue. She simply nodded, her gaze distant. Liam plotted a course to the station and activated the thrusters. The ship groaned in protest but complied. The trading station loomed like a twisted spiderweb in the void of space. Its skeletal structure bristled with docking arms, antennae, and makeshift modules added over decades of chaotic construction. Ships of all shapes and sizes drifted around it, and the faint glow of neon lights flickered from its core. Liam guided the starbound Voyager into one of the docking bays. As the airlock hissed open, the smells of oil, metal, and unwashed bodies assaulted his senses. The docking bay was bustling with activity, mechanics working on ships, traders shouting over prices, and mercenaries watching everyone with sharp, calculating eyes. Kalira pulled a hood over her head, hiding her glowing skin. "We must be cautious." "No kidding," Liam muttered, scanning the crowd. His hand rested on the blaster at his hip as they made their way toward the market. At the heart of the station was a sprawling bazaar filled with makeshift stalls and holographic displays. Traders peddled everything from exotic alien artifacts to black market weaponry. Liam spotted a group of engineers arguing over spare parts and approached cautiously. "I need engine repairs," he said. "Fast." The lead engineer, a grizzled woman with cybernetic implants, eyed him suspiciously. "Got credits?" "Enough," Liam replied, though he wasn't entirely sure it was true. As they haggled over the price, Kalira wandered through the market, her hood pulled tight. She paused at a stall displaying shimmering crystals and alien relics. The merchant, a wiry man with too many teeth, grinned at her. "Ah, a discerning customer," he said, looking for something rare. Kalira's eyes flicked over the relics, her expression unreadable. "No." The merchant leaned closer, lowering his voice. "You're not just any traveler, are you? Word spreads fast here. Eltaran glow, bonded to a human, no less. That's a story worth a fortune." Kalira stiffened, her fingers twitching at her side. Before she could respond, Liam appeared behind her, his hand on his blaster. "We're not interested. Back off." The merchant raised his hands, chuckling. "Just making conversation, friend. No harm intended." Liam grabbed Kalira's arm and steered her away from the stall. "We're drawing too much attention." "Your world is chaotic," Kalira said, her voice tinged with unease. "Welcome to the edge of civilization," Liam muttered. "Stick close." Their repairs were underway, but trouble found them before they could leave. A group of heavily armed mercenaries blocked their path as they returned to the docking bay. Their leader, a hulking alien with scales like molten metal, stepped forward, his blaster drawn. "You've got something valuable," he growled. "Hand it over, and we'll let you live." Liam sighed, his blaster already in his hand. "Yeah, I'm not buying that." Kalira stepped beside him, her symbols glowing faintly beneath her hood. "We do not wish to fight." The mercenary leader sneered. "Then make it easy for us." The air around Kalira shimmered, and the mercenaries froze, as if rooted in place. Their leader struggled against the invisible force, his eyes wide with fear. What are you doing?" Kalira's voice resonated in their minds. "Leave us. You will not find what you seek here." One by one, the mercenaries dropped their weapons and backed away, their movements sluggish and dazed. Liam holstered his blaster, staring at Kalira in awe. "Remind me not to get on your bad side." Kalira swayed slightly, her energy clearly drained. Liam caught her arm to steady her. "We need to get out of here before someone else decides to test their luck." They hurried back to the starbound Voyager, their ship patched up just enough to limp out of the station. As they launched into the void once more, Liam couldn't shake the feeling that their enemies were closing in. "Next stop," he said, setting a course for Kalira's homeworld. "Eltara. Let's hope your people are more welcoming than mine." Kalira didn't respond. She simply gazed out at the stars, her expression a mix of hope and dread. Whatever awaited them on Eltara, it was bound to be the most dangerous leg of their journey yet. The revelation. The journey to Eltara was eerily quiet. Liam sat in the cockpit of the starbound Voyager, the ship coasting through the shimmering tendrils of a nearby nebula. Kalira remained in the observation bay, staring out at the swirling cosmos. Her glow was faint, and her silence weighed heavily on the atmosphere. Eva, Liam said, breaking the tension. What's our ETA to Eltara? Approximately 14 hours, the eye replied. Long-range scans detect no immediate threats. Liam leaned back, rubbing his temples. Let's hope it stays that way. He couldn't help but glance over his shoulder, where Kalira sat in quiet contemplation. She hadn't spoken much since their escape from the trading station. Something was on her mind, and Liam was running out of patience. Finally, he left the cockpit and approached her. All right, Kalira. Spill it. You've been brooding ever since we left. What aren't you telling me? Kalira turned to face him, her silver eyes shimmering faintly. There is much you do not understand about my world, Liam. About what awaits us. Then maybe you should start explaining, he said, crossing his arms. Because flying into this blind isn't exactly my idea of a good plan. Kalira sighed, her shoulders slumping slightly. Eltara is a beautiful world, but it is not without its darkness. My people value order above all else. The soul bond we share, it is considered sacred but also dangerous. Dangerous how? Liam asked, his brow furrowing. The bond is a merging of our life forces, Kalira explained. It is meant to unite two souls for eternity, ensuring balance and harmony. But it is rare, even among my people. And with you, an outsider, it is seen as an anomaly. Many will view it as a threat. Liam frowned. So, what are we walking into? A warm welcome or a firing squad? Kalira hesitated. The council will want answers. They may see you as an intruder, and my betrothed, Zethar. He will not stop until he ensures the bond is severed. Liam let out a low whistle. Sounds like a fun family reunion. Anything else I should know? Kalira looked away, her glowing symbols flickering. The artifact I carry, it is more than just a relic. It holds the key to my people's future. If it falls into the wrong hands, it could bring devastation. Liam's eyes narrowed. And Zethar wants it, doesn't he? She nodded. He seeks to use it to gain control of the council. With the artifact and my bond to you, he can claim dominion over Eltara and the stars beyond. Liam ran a hand through his hair. Great, so not only am I married to an alien princess, but I'm also carrying the galaxy's hottest potato. Anything else you want to throw on the pile? Kalira's lips twitched into the faintest hint of a smile. I understand if you regret saving me. He chuckled dryly. Oh, I regret it, all right. But I'm not about to back down now. As they approached Eltara, the view outside the ship transformed. The planet was breathtaking. A swirling sphere of silver and blue, with massive crystalline spires jutting into the atmosphere. Rings of glowing energy orbited the planet, casting a soft light that seemed to pulse in time with Kalira's symbols. Eva's voice broke the spell. Entering Eltaran space. Permission to land requested. A tense silence filled the cockpit as the request was sent. Moments later, a voice responded, smooth and commanding. Unidentified vessel, you are entering restricted space. State your purpose. Kalira stepped forward, her voice steady. This is Kalira of House Velfar. I am returning to Eltara under council authority. Grant us passage. There was a long pause, and Liam's fingers hovered over the ship's weapons controls, just in case. Finally, the voice replied, permission granted. Proceed to the capital docking bay. The council awaits. Well, that's not ominous at all, Liam muttered, guiding the ship toward the planet's surface. The capital city of Eltara was like something out of a dream. Towering crystalline structures reflected the light of twin suns, creating rainbows that danced across the landscape. Streams of energy flowed between the buildings like rivers, and the air hummed with a faint melodic vibration. But the beauty was overshadowed by the armed escort that greeted them. A squad of Eltaran warriors, their armor gleaming like polished obsidian, surrounded the ship as soon as it touched down. Their leader, a tall figure with piercing violet eyes, stepped forward. Kalira, he said, his tone clipped. You have returned. Kalira inclined her head. "Commander Theron, I come to speak with the Council." Theron's gaze shifted to Liam, his eyes narrowing. "And the human?" Kalira's voice was firm. "He is my bonded. He has every right to be here." The commander's lips thinned, but he said nothing. With a curt gesture, he motioned for them to follow. The council chamber was a vast, circular hall made of shimmering crystal. 12 Elterans, their symbols glowing in synchrony, sat on raised platforms. Their expressions were unreadable as Kalira and Liam entered. One of the counselors, an elder with a deep, resonant voice, spoke first. "Kalira of House Dulfar, you return under troubling circumstances. Explain yourself." Kalira stepped forward, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. "I come bearing proof of betrayal. Zethar has conspired to seize control of Altara, using forbidden means. He attacked my vessel, leaving me for dead, and seeks the artifact to complete his plan." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The elder raised a hand for silence. "And this human?" Kalira glanced at Liam, her gaze unwavering. "He saved my life, and the bond was formed. He is no enemy to Altara." The elder's eyes narrowed. "The bond is an anomaly. It must be severed for the safety of our people." Liam opened his mouth to protest, but Kalira cut him off. "The bond is not the threat. Zethar is. If we waste time debating this, he will destroy everything we hold dear." The tension in the room was palpable. Finally, the elder spoke. "We will hear your case. But if your claims prove false, the consequences will be severe." As they were escorted from the chamber, Liam leaned toward Kalira. "Severe consequences? I'm guessing that doesn't mean a slap on the wrist." Kalira's expression was grim. "No, it means death." Liam sighed. "Fantastic. Just another day in paradise." But as they walked through the gleaming halls, Liam couldn't shake the feeling that something far worse was waiting for them. The final battle. The crystalline halls of Altara's council chambers echoed with tension as Liam and Kalira exited their hearing. The council had agreed to review her accusations against Zethar, but their skepticism was palpable. They had granted Kalira a single day to present irrefutable evidence, or face banishment for treason. For Liam, the stakes were even higher. He was an outsider bound to their most sacred tradition. If they decided he was a threat, his life would be forfeit. Liam followed Kalira down a narrow corridor lit by glowing veins of energy running through the walls. His pulse quickened as her symbols flickered erratically. She was clearly struggling to maintain her composure. "You're quiet," Liam said, his voice low. "That doesn't exactly inspire confidence." Kalira glanced at him, her silver eyes filled with a mix of resolve and fear. "This is not just a fight for my honor, Liam. It is a fight for the future of Altara. If Zethar gains the artifact, he will wield power unlike anything this world has ever seen." "And let me guess," Liam said dryly, "we're the only ones standing in his way." Kalira managed a faint smile. "You've been keeping up." The artifact, a crystalline sphere pulsing with faint light, lay hidden deep within Kalira's chambers in the Velfar family estate. Liam studied it skeptically as Kalira carefully retrieved it from its protective casing. "This thing is the reason we're in this mess?" he asked, crossing his arms. Kalira nodded, her expression grim. "The artifact holds the power to control the energy streams that sustain Altara. Whoever wields it can reshape the planet, or destroy it." Liam let out a low whistle. No pressure, then. As Kalira secured the artifact in a protective case, a low hum filled the air. The symbols on her skin flared brightly, and she froze, her face contorting in pain. "Kalira." Liam stepped forward, but she raised a hand to stop him. "They're here," she whispered, her voice tight with urgency. "Zethar's forces have breached the estate." An explosion rocked the building, sending shards of crystal raining down. Liam grabbed Kalira's arm, pulling her toward the nearest exit. "We need to move. Now." The once serene estate had become a war zone. Zethar's forces, clad in dark armor and wielding energy weapons, poured into the corridors. Liam fired his blaster, ducking behind cover as Kalira projected shimmering barriers to deflect incoming fire. "We can't hold them off forever," Liam shouted, reloading his weapon. Kalira's cymbals pulsed as she unleashed a wave of psychic energy, sending several attackers sprawling. "We don't need to. We just need to reach the council chambers. And you think they'll believe us when we show up with a small army on our tail?" Liam asked, taking out another soldier. Kalira didn't answer. Her focus was on the battle ahead. The pair fought their way through the estate, narrowly evading capture at every turn. When they finally reached the council chambers, they were battered and exhausted. The council members stood in a semicircle, their expressions a mix of confusion and alarm. "What is the meaning of this intrusion?" demanded the elder counselor. Kalira stepped forward, clutching the artifact. "Zathar's forces are attacking as we speak. This is the proof you demanded. He seeks to take the artifact by force." The chamber doors slammed open, and Zathar strode in, flanked by his elite guards. His armor glinted menacingly, and his violet eyes burned with fury. "Enough of this charade. Kalira has betrayed her people, conspiring with an outsider to desecrate our sacred traditions. She must be stopped." The council turned their gaze to Zathar, uncertainty flickering across their faces. Liam stepped forward, his blaster trained on the warlord. "Yeah, about that. If anyone here's a traitor, it's you." Zathar sneered. "And what proof do you have, human?" Liam gestured to the artifact. "The fact that you're willing to blow up half the planet to get your hands on that thing seems like a good start." The tension in the room was electric. Zathar raised his hand, signaling his guards to advance, but Kalira acted first. She hurled the artifact into the air, her symbols flaring brightly as she channeled its energy. The artifact responded, emitting a brilliant pulse of light that immobilized everyone in the chamber except for her and Liam. "This ends now," Kalira said, her voice resonating with raw power. "The artifact will not be a weapon for your ambition, Zathar." Zathar growled, breaking free of the artifact's influence through sheer willpower. He lunged at Kalira, but Liam intercepted him, tackling the warlord to the ground. The two men grappled, trading blows as Kalira focused on stabilizing the artifact's energy. "Any time you want to finish this, Kalira, feel free," Liam shouted, struggling to hold Zathar at bay. Kalira's eyes glowed like twin suns as she raised her hands, directing the artifact's power toward Zathar. The energy enveloped him, forcing him to his knees. His armor cracked and shattered, and he let out a roar of defiance before collapsing. The room fell silent. The council members, now free of the artifact's immobilizing field, stared in awe at Kalira. In the aftermath, the council declared Zathar a traitor and pledged to reform Elterra's governing structure to prevent such corruption from taking root again. Kalira was hailed as a hero, though she dismissed the praise, insisting that Liam had played an equal role in their victory. As they prepared to leave Elterra, Liam stood on the ship's loading ramp, watching Kalira say her goodbyes. When she finally joined him, he raised an eyebrow. "So, what happens now?" Kalira smiled faintly. "We forge a new path. Together." Liam smirked, shaking his head. "I didn't sign up for this, you know." Kalira's expression softened. "And yet, you stayed." With that, the starbound Voyager lifted off, disappearing into the vast expanse of space. Their journey was far from over, but for the first time, they faced it not as strangers, but as partners bound by fate and forged in fire.